What's up, guys? It's John at National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into tomorrow's games. Most of our NFL schedule is tomorrow, and as I said before, I do like the fact that it's spread out this week. It gives us information. Some teams still play at the same times, but for example, we have the Panthers and Ravens playing. Then we got the Bucs later. The Dolphins are playing, and we already saw the Jets. So we have a lot of these games playing where, based off of how one game goes, I think it's going to help us with the others. So I'm just going to run down the games, and this kind of goes in line with my team's playoff paths. Not everyone, so not every team I have winning is making the playoffs or vice versa. I'm just going to go into who I think covers and why. So here we got the Bills at the Bears. And I think the Bills win. The question is, do they cover the 8? The Bears just hung in there with Hurts, and they covered. They lost by 5. I think we're going to see the same thing. I think the Bears are going to cover this game. I do like the Bills to win, but I think the Bears are going to cover it just because, again, it's going to be Allen versus Fields. Fields is not in that tier, but they're trying to show that he's not a schmuck either. They also want to show that he's definitely not. He's here to stay. Now, this one's an interesting one because the Saints, believe it or not, with a win, are right in the playoff picture in the NFC South, which would fit with what's going on. And the Browns, with a win, are in the wild card picture. Due to tie breaks, I prefer the Browns in this game. I think they want to keep them going more than the Saints. And I'm going to buy the Browns down to 2.5. So, because it could definitely be a 3-point game. You see the over-under set very low. When Vegas does that, they usually expect a pretty low game. So, they're already talking about weather. So, I would buy that down to 2.5 with the Browns. And then here we have the Texans-Titans. And on this one, I'm taking the Titans. I think they do need this win because they're going to lose to, again, this one I'm going to go with just the 3. Just discretion. You can buy both the 2.5. But I'm just going to do the 3. They just had a couple 3-point games. I don't know if they have another. And a lot of people are liking the Texans, but the problem is the Titans are most likely losing to the Cowboys. So, and the Jags have the Texans next week. So it would make it where the Texans would have to beat the Titans and then the Jags. Otherwise, the Jags would actually have the tiebreak, and Week 18 would not matter. So if the Titans lose this week, essentially, kind of like the Jets-Dolphins, Week 18, if the Jets were to lose next week, Week 18 wouldn't matter. The Titans need to win this game so they can be at the same record as Jacksonville or a game above. A game below gives the game no stakes. So I do like the Titans to win this game, even though it looks kind of like a trap and to cover. Like I said, I always go over things. I think people on my Discord, and that's one of the things I like to go over is the fact that we don't have to win every one. We're about, I think, we're 4-3 or something on the NBA today, but we profited quite well because of the system. So the next one we got is Seahawks at Chiefs here, and on this one, again, it's a pretty big spread. I'm going to go with the Chiefs at home. Typically, good playoff teams will cover spreads at home. They have covered a couple, but not a lot, and they haven't covered many in general. So to go 4-10 for a team like the Chiefs, not that it hasn't happened, but it is pretty unlikely. So I do like the Chiefs to cover that spread. I also think the Seahawks just lose this game. I think a lot of teams are going to lose in unison. For the same reason here, I have the Vikings covering. I think they want to show people, again, the Vikings are actually a good team. And what better way than to beat a team that can afford a loss, the Giants. So you can see I'm kind of mixing metrics as well as narratives. I also think people are going to find Giants +4 appealing in this matchup. And then we have a couple more. This one I absolutely love, the Patriots. We're getting 3 points. I might buy a half, but again, it's another one just like the Titans. I think Patriots have to win. It makes Baltimore, Cincinnati more interesting. It makes New England, Miami next week more interesting. Patriots loss does not make much sense to me. And sure, I'm not saying every team has to be in it. I'm also factoring in the Bengals win against the spread metric. So for a plethora of reasons, I do like the Patriots here to cover the spread, and they probably get the win. Yeah, that would be nice if Miami could do that. Dallas, I hadn't checked. Hopefully they hold. And I think the Hornets come through. That was definitely a trap. And then we have Lions-Panthers. Now, this one you can go either way with. What I'm going to go with is, again, I think they want to keep the NFC as open as possible, kind of like the AFC. And I think the Bucs win this week is the thing. So, in this particular game, I do like, just looking at the spread, I am going to go with the Panthers. I think way more people are going to be on Detroit. And, again, the Lions can lose. Panthers win. Bucs win. The Falcons could even lose. And you can see you don't need all of these games to go a certain way for certain teams to stay in it. So the last 1 o'clock game is Atlanta-Baltimore. And this one I do think Baltimore wins. And now, do they cover? That's the question. I noticed a move from like 7.5 to 6.5. It might be nothing. But I'm actually going to take Baltimore to cover. I think because Lamar is out and Atlanta is fighting for something more so than Baltimore, who's probably going to get it anyway. I think that people are going to be on Atlanta, and I like Baltimore to cover this game at home. So that just leaves the 4 o'clock games. And like I said, based on how the Lions game goes, the Giants, Vikings, that's going to determine what happens with the Commanders and things like that. So that's why we're just going to hit the 1 o'clocks for now. And as I said, it's going to help us with the later games, but I'll make sure we get out the 4 and the night games tomorrow. I got family coming, but I'll still have time to get out the rest of the picks. But that's everybody I like for the 1 o'clock picks. And if you can't tell, it's all fitting into my playoff picture as well that we've had for a couple months. So I think the playoff picture holds. But yeah, I think all those teams, and just to recap, just in case, I do think the Bears cover here. I do like the Browns to cover, probably buying 0.5 point. I like the Titans for a cover. That one I probably won't buy the half, but you really can. It's discretionary. They'll want you to buy the points, I can tell you that. I like Chiefs at home covering, and I like Vikings and Patriots and Panthers covering, and I like Baltimore. So as you can see, I have a lot of home teams, almost every home team covering here. Actually, we do in fact have every home team covering, and I don't think it's anything that crazy, just because some of them I have covering and losing. For example, I do think that the Bears here are going to cover and lose, so not in every case do I have them covering and winning. I just don't see many of these games going the other way, to be quite honest. Like I said, the Panthers, they can't do much with that game. That one could go to the Lions, but that one looks like a trap to me. Same with the Ravens. I think 7 points, 6.5 is a lot of points. So I didn't even look too deep into it. A lot of times, a bunch of home teams will cover or win. Same thing with the away teams, and then they'll even it out throughout the week. But those are my official plays for tomorrow. That's who I like. My next video will be going into the 4 o'clock games, the night games, and we're still going to continue our path to the playoffs. With the next team probably being the Raiders, because we already just hit the Packers. I might hit the Lions as well, but I figure a couple people have been asking about the Raiders. But yeah, so those are the picks I like this week. Of these, the ones I like the most, I would say, is New England. Looks like a very trappish line. I do think Cleveland is a good pick. I like a lot of them, to be quite honest, but yeah, New England and Cleveland, in my opinion, are two that can make it very interesting with some wins. So and covers is more important because, for example, here we have the Patriots getting 3. That's very important. It might move to 3.5, and this is one I might buy the 0.5 point, just in case you got that backdoor buffer. It's good to sometimes have that 3.5. I don't usually buy the 3.5. Sorry about that. I usually only buy it like from 2.5 to 3 or something like that. But in this case, I'm actually going to buy probably a 3.5 on the Patriots. But those are all the covers I like. Like I said, we're about split on the NBA, but we closed all the important ones Knicks didn't close, so we got Hornets lined up there. I think that was a trap. I don't know why the Hornets, as bad as the Lakers are, doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, so that's going to cover us for all the ones tomorrow, and then probably by the morning time or something I'll have out once I look into, especially sometimes like I said, I need to see what's going on early in the 1 o'clock games, and then I can make sure we get our 4 o'clock and night games out as well. So take care, everybody. Merry Christmas Eve, and happy earnings.